Thank you for joining us on Bottom Line this week. To take a look at the news of the week, we have on our panel today Sugata Mukherjee, the editor for the Triangle Business Journal, and Colin Campbell, the editor of the NC Insider State Government News Service. Well, Sugata, as sure as Betsy makes the best biscuits, there's another ranking out about North Carolina's business climate. What does it say?
But Joe, this is a big one because CNBC is a very well-known business television establishment, and they do have quite a good number of journalists that have crunched these numbers. And in the past week, they came up with what are the top states for business in the country. Well, North Carolina came in fifth, and in 2016, they were ranked fifth as well. Washington State was number one, and Georgia and Texas, and there was one other state that were ahead of North Carolina. What is, however, interesting is when you break down as to why the state was recognized that high, it is sort of interesting. They broke it down among 10 different categories: cost of doing business, workforce, quality of life, education, infrastructure. The biggest bump we saw that where from last year to this year, numbers have gone up, is one is cost of doing business. So I'm thinking that whether these tax policies and they have been talking about in the General Assembly that we're going to be friendly to business, whether that is in fact in terms of cost, it is sort of resonating with the overall business community.
So we've gotten better in some categories, but have we gotten worse in some others?
We have. We are dropping in the category of education. We were ranked 32nd in this cycle. Last year it was 28th. And year before it was like 16th. So that is not a good trend, of course. There's a lot of talk about, of course, teacher pay and also what has happened overall with the North Carolina teachers per se. So that is a big drop. And the second big problem, and Triangle Business Journal has covered that in the past, is access to capital. We were ranked number one 2 years ago among all 50 states. We are still very high. We are ninth in the 2017 ranking, but it makes you wonder as to what exactly is going on, whether these small businesses, these startups, this entrepreneurial community do in fact have access to capital.
Interesting. Well, another ranking came out this week in George Mason University. Colin, tell us a little bit about what's in that.
Yeah, so this was the Mercatus Center at George Mason, had a ranking of states' fiscal health, measuring things like how their pension liabilities stack up against what their revenues look like, what the tax policy looks like, how many things that you've budgeted for are you going to have to pay for in the next few years. And North Carolina went up in that ranking. We had been 21st out of 50 states. Now we're up to 15th. So pretty big improvement, but we're still not in the top 10 on that ranking. The Senate leadership, Phil Berger, put out a press release about it, highlighting one specific aspect of it, the budget solvency category, basically determining how well your revenues meet what budget obligations you have in your state budget. That was number 5 in the state. So that was out of the little sub-rankings they did, the best that North Carolina did out of that. But one caveat I looked at as I was looking at the data, this is based on numbers for fiscal year 2015, so there's a little bit of a lag in how quickly this is updated in the numbers that they put out. So this is perhaps changes that have gone on several years before now, but now we have to look ahead at, will we be in these same rankings 2 or 3 years down the road?
And that is, I think, a big issue in front of us. We have already had people that basically looking at this year's budget, and I know, Colin, you have sort of worked on that, that have sort of indicated that, will this state, because of these tax cuts, will have a problem with the revenue intake because so much of it is going to go out.
Yeah, and that was this nonpartisan legislative staff analysis that found a potential shortfall starting in 2019 of perhaps more than $1 billion. Republicans say that this is not something we need to be worried about necessarily because it assumes a certain growth rate in spending.
Right.
They say that their growth rate will be lower than that if they stay in power, and that they think revenue will grow beyond what's projected for now. Of course, that assumes the economy keeps growing the way it's growing now, and then we don't get into some sort of recession 2 or 3 years down the road.
And there's already indication that what the original projection of the economy growing overall has now been pared down. They're looking at a 2% growth now, what they were thinking about 2.4, 2.6% this year. So
Well, one of the interesting dynamics of all of this is a budget for a state is based on the speculation that revenues will come in at a certain rate, and that is based on a certain expectation of the economy. And so how well North Carolina's business community does really has a direct impact on how much revenue the state has to spend for various necessary services. But what do these rankings mean? I mean, is this something that we can say gives us confidence North Carolina will continue to be an attractive place for businesses to come and grow? Do we have some concerns about what these rankings represent in underlying numbers or those other factors? What does it really mean for North Carolina's business community to be ranked?
Well, I mean, for one, I mean, you'd rather be 5th than 45th. So there is some validity to the fact that you want to be ranked higher because they are looking at several different criteria. While these are often, even if you use data, in the end the algorithm is can be somewhat subjective because your weight, it's not a similar weight. It's weighted. All these categories are different, weighted differently. There are a couple of concerns. The access to capital for North Carolina is definitely a concern. For the Raleigh-Durham area, it's probably a bigger concern because of this voracity of activity that we see in the entrepreneurial community. Education is another thing. I mean, I think everybody talks about it. I'm not sure how much is being done. People like to talk, but I'm not sure how much is being done.
Right.
Yeah, that always factors into corporate relocations, and certainly if North Carolina wants to grow the next Red Hat or the next SaaS, that venture capital ranking probably should be pretty concerning, and I don't know what the rationale behind that, what's causing it.
Well, Colin, as the legislative session wrapped up, there were a number of bills presented to the governor for his either signature or veto, some of which had a direct implication on the state's business community. Give us a short recap of some of the things that we've seen happen so far in terms of the governor and whether or not he's supporting things the General Assembly has enacted.
Yeah, well, we saw he obviously supported the brunch bill that's probably gotten the most attention, and we've seen, it's kind of funny to watch towns and communities across the state adopt this 10 a.m. Sunday morning alcohol sales provision, because you've seen the metro areas jump on it, and you've seen particularly coastal and mountain towns that are very tourism oriented jump on it because people coming in from out of state are wanting to have a mimosa with their brunch at 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning at the hotel, and currently they can't. So that's been sort of fascinating to watch this percolate down to the local level. There's some other bills in front of the governor. There's this consumer credit bill that would expand some insurance products that are available on certain types of property insurance for personal property. That's something that's raising some concerns from some consumer groups that say that this could cause people to be buying some financial products that they don't perhaps need. The industry counters that this is just sort of a technical fix to try to clarify in the law what you can sell and what you can't. So that's in front of the governor. We don't know how he's going to react to that. Quite a variety of business-related regulations, and I don't get a sense we'll know the outcome until the August session when whatever he doesn't sign and perhaps comes back up for a veto override.
Well, these issues and many other issues will become the challenges of the next generation of North Carolina's business leaders.